What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman, designed by Todd Mcfarlane. And so here we have the Batman designed by Todd Mcfarlane pose and out of the packaging. Before we take a look at this figure, let's actually run through his accessories really fast. Batman does come with two trench knives, which they do look really nice. I love the design of these knives. They do fit in either of his hands, or you can store them on the back of his cape. Batman also comes with a single gold batarang, which does fit in either of his hands, and it looks really good. And of course, he does come with a McFarlane display base. Other than that, Batman doesn't come with anything else, so let's actually take a closer look at Batman. And so here we have a closer look at the McFarlane designed Batman, and I have to say, there's really not much new to talk about here other than the color scheme. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the exact same Batman that we've had a look at that was previously in the gold label. However, the gold label Batman was more of a charcoal color, as you can see here. This Batman is donning the darker navy blue, which it's pretty good. I'm not a fan of the navy blue. I prefer black when it comes to Batman, but this does look really nice, and from a distance it looks really good. The shade of blue that they use on Batman is very, very good. I do like it. As you can see, he does have the back of the scabbards right here where the knives do fit into if you don't want him holding it, which is a really nice little detail. As I said with the original head, this one is more or less the same thing. If you're not a fan of the 90s era Batman, you're not going to really love this head. Me, I'm a little bit indifferent to this head. Like, I grew up in the 90s and I saw this grungy style Batman. So seeing this, it's kind of screams 90s nostalgia to me. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of this head, so if you're not a fan of it, you're not going to like this particular head sculpt. And again, this design is a little bit different from what we've come to expect from Batman, even though it kind of holds all the same things as you would expect from Batman. There's new bits and pieces to it, like for example, his emblem is on his cape, which I'm not a fan of. I'm also not a fan of the glossy paint, the finish that they used on it. It looks like it didn't dry 100% when they started putting things on it. You can see it's like full of lint, which is a little bit unfortunate. And yeah, it's actually in the paint because I can't peel that off, which that is very, very unfortunate for me, because that does ruin the figure a little bit, especially because that's lint that is ingrained into the figure and it's not something that just happened that I can wipe off. So not a fan of that at all. I do like the gauntlets here. They are still very Spawn inspired, but that's what you would expect out of the man who created Spawn. When he designs his own Batman, of course, he's going to have Spawn inspired gauntlets, which they still look really nice. The silver is done exceptionally well, and they're still that a really nice navy blue. We do have some pouches right here on his shoulder, which they're pretty good. Not a fan of the shoulder pouches. I don't know why he would need shoulder pouches, but he does have them. We do have a utility belt with the bat emblem right here. We have some batarangs tied off right there. Don't know why they would be tied off when they need to be easily accessed. So that kind of boggles my mind a little bit. And then of course his utility belt does have pouches going all the way around it. We have those gold knives that we did see on the original one, which these are smaller. They don't really match his trench knives. As you can see, the trench knives have a completely different design than the knives here on his utility belt. Speaking of his utility belt, we do have some more pouches right here, canisters there. On the back, nothing to speak of, although I would have liked to see more pouches on here because it's a utility belt, and more pouches you have on a utility belt, the better. And of course we do get those utility pouches right there, along with some more grenades. As you can see right there, we have some smoke grenades and probably some pellet grenades right there. He does have armor plating right here on each of his thighs, which does look really nice. I'm not a fan of this single armor plating. I would have liked to see the plating more all over the thigh, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in my original review. If not, yeah, I would rather see armor plating going around the thigh rather than just on the side. Right leg does have another utility belt where you can see pouches and canisters. So that's a really nice little design, and we do have some grenades right here. Going to his shoes. Again, this is more or less the exact same figure that we got with the gold label, just instead of a charcoal, he does have a dark really deep navy blue, which I am a fan of. It does look really nice on this figure. I think I prefer the navy blue over the charcoal when it comes to this particular style of Batman, but most of the time I would prefer black cowl. So yeah, that's just my take on it. It's still a really nice looking figure with some odd proportions, especially when you get down to his wrist being so skinny, which doesn't make sense because you can see he's a pretty wide figure, and then we get onto his little wrists and those are really tiny. So yeah, the wrists still problematic because they do look weird because they're just a simple ball joint sticking out into the blue. Although I feel like this one isn't in all the way, especially when you see how deep this one goes in. This one kind of is sticking out so much, so I might heat that up and try to push it in, because I think I might be able to just wiggle that out. I'm not going to do it now because I can't fix it. But anyway, that's Batman for you guys. So what we're going to do now is actually get him compared to other figures you may have in your collection. And so here we have the McFarlane designed Batman posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Batman posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. Here we have Batman posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And finally, here we have the McFarlane designed Batman posed next to the gold label McFarlane designed Batman. So with those comparisons out of the way, let's actually move on to his articulation. Now, Batman here does have the same articulation that we've seen with a lot of McFarlane figures. He does have a ball joint here at the head, although I feel like this is, yeah, it's a double ball joint because we can move his head up and down right there. But then we also do get more range looking down and looking up. And of course, we get some really good side-to-side head tilt. So that works really well. And then, of course, it does turn left and right. His arms are on ball joints going into the shoulders, so they do go back and forward. We have some up and down movement, which works fine. A hinge in the shoulder going back or going out to the side. He does do he would do a full 360 if it wasn't for his cape coming over his shoulders, which I'm not a fan of the way that works. We do have a bicep swivel, which works fine. We get double bend here at the elbow, kind of stiff on this joint, and yeah, those are kind of sharp. They will start poking into your skin if you don't grab them right, so do be aware of that. But yeah, we do have a double bend here at the elbow. We do have a ball hinge here at the wrist, so it does move up and down really nicely. We can rotate that joint to have in and out movement, and of course it rotates on that peg. We do have a ball joint here at the torso, which doesn't give us much forward movement, if any. Gives us some back. We have rotation, very little side to side. Most of the rotation and movement comes from the lower ball joint, which only goes about that far forward, goes much further back than it goes forward. Then we do get some slight tilt and some rotation out of that. Legs do kick forward to about right there. They go back pretty far, I do like that. Going out to the side, they do get stuck on all this pouches right here, which is a little bit unfortunate, but you can force it to about right there. We do have somewhat of a thigh swivel, which works fine. Double bend here at the knee. Look, works pretty good. So we get some good range there. We do have a ball hinge at the ankle, which does go back. Doesn't go forward because of how his armor comes over. We have forward facing pin for rocker ankle. We can rotate that joint to give him a true rocker ankle. And then we have a very generous toe hinge. So overall, nothing we haven't seen before, and it's the exact same as the gold label Batman. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the Todd Mcfarlane designed Batman posed for my final thoughts. And overall, if you didn't like the gold label Batman, you're not going to like this figure. I do like the knives that he comes with. I think the knives on this figure look so much better than those little gold doohickeys we got with the other one. I know those were supposed to be swords, but these ones look even better. I love the way these knives look, especially when you have them posed. It looks really good. But like I said, this is a really stylized figure, and it just screams McFarlane, with the exception of the cape. I'm surprised the cape is as calm as it is, considering this is the same man who designed Spawn, and Spawn's cape has 73 different area codes. This Batman is done exceptionally well, and you gotta give McFarlane credit for designing his own Batman. Even though it's not my favorite design, I do feel like the head, though it looks good and screams of 90 nostalgia, it's really not the best Batman head sculpt that we've gotten. Like I said, it is a good 90s version of Batman, but it's not a good modern day Batman, and it is Todd's own interpretation of Batman, but the character has so much more rich history, and I think McFarlane just tried to make Batman edgier than he already is. If you are looking for this Batman, he will start hitting stores around April, and he should start shipping if you have him pre-ordered on Amazon around April 14th. I was lucky enough to find my Batman at my local Target. I just saw him on the pegs and I just picked him up. I wasn't able to find any of the newer figures out there, but when I did see him, I knew I had to have this Batman in my collection because those knives look really nice. It's not my favorite design of Batman, but the accessories he comes with are really good, and you can use those with other figures too. They don't have to be exclusive to Batman, so that is another good thing about this figure. Another good thing about this figure is the price point. While the gold label Batman was $25, this version of Batman is only going to cost you $20, so he's actually $5 cheaper, and I think the accessories he comes with are much better than the gold label Batman. The only difference comes down to which colors you prefer. Do you prefer the black and charcoal, or do you prefer the blue and gray? It's really up to you guys what you prefer. I would say get both of them and return the one that you don't like, or you can just pick one up and be happy with that. With that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews, as well as all my other DC McFarlane Multiverse videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you'd like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos. And as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.